Hello everyone present over here. Thank you for coming for the session. So myself Kamal Aditya over here and my team is also over here in this meeting. So we are trained consultants and interview preparations associates for the and we have been training more than 500 plus students for the last couple of years and we have helped more than 500 plus students. We are trained professionals in this field, and I'm telling that you guys don't need to worry about this, and you guys are in the very good hands. So we train people for all sorts of examinations and interviews, and also for the top universities of India. We have completed our degree and our course from Christ Interview University, which is a well-known, reputed university from India. And so myself and my crew, we have been training students for the last 5 years, and we have trained people for the top universities like Christ Interview University, Symbiosis, NLUs, and much more institutions also. So I'll be explaining what is interview and why is interview important, so that it will be useful for you guys to know why you are over here and why you're going to be joining this course. Okay. First of all, interview is a skill. Okay, it's not a small thing where you can just ace it in the nights, overnights. Because like most of the people who are preparing for the examination, they'll be studying in the overnights and they'll be writing the exam and they'll be clearing it up. But interview is not a small thing where you just sit and study for a day and night. And it's not that easy to crack it in the overnight also. So you have to be practicing it overnight and day by day, so that like it comes in the way. And so don't worry, myself and my team are over there for helping you in that. And so we'll be teaching what and all things to be covered and what and all things you have to be learning for the acing and interview session. Okay, first of all, interview is of many categories. Okay, so you guys can attempt an interview for a college, and it can be for a office, or it can be and for an internship, or it can be for a school or a PU college or something. It can be for a post graduation, which is broader. There are many types of interview sessions, but each and everything differs, and the questions which will be you'll be asked in the interview will be different. So you have to be preparing each and every interview session accordingly to it. And as we are interview experts, we'll be guiding through the whole. Okay, for as of now, I'll be explaining about the interviews for the college. Okay, as the many students have been were asking us like for the interview sessions for colleges, we'll be explaining about it. Where interviews will be conducted by many colleges in each and every manner. I'll just tell in a simple and a common way where you'll be having questions about. Tell me about this. Okay, so write down the points because like this is really important. I'll glimpse it up again with you guys. Okay. First, it's going to be about the introduction. Who are you guys? So, where are you guys from? What's your family background? What you're good at? So, they'll be asking more questions about your introduction. Okay, this is going to be about the introductory session. So, in this, they really check what's your exact background, like which platform are you coming from? If you're coming from which domain, for example, commerce, or it'll be in computer science, or it'll be in business, max. So it can be from different domains. The next thing which they check is the knowledge about the institution which you're going to be applying. So those are different types. I'll be explaining and elaborating it in the later days, later sessions also. But I'll just give you the general information. Okay. So if you're going to be going to a new institution or something, they'll be keen to know like what you know about them. For example, if you go to a place, so you actually go to Google and you'll be searching about what are the good places to visit over there and so place. So that's how basically when I go into an institution, you should know about their achievements and what they actually do currently. Okay. Another thing, you should be strong in your subjects. So whenever you're opting for any BCom or BBA or any subjects like MBA or something, you should be strong in your basics. For example, if it's going to be accounts or something, you have to know what's the basic principles of golden rules of accounting. So these are the basic things which you have to be strong when you're applying for a interview. Okay. The next comes the each and every college has like some colleges have micro presentations like Christ in will be having the micro presentation. So in that, they'll be giving a certain topic and they'll be asking you to explain it. Okay. So that we'll be covering in the later days also. Don't worry. Okay. The next comes the current affairs. What is current affairs? Most of the people have been asking this question. What is actually current affairs? Guys, the things that are around you, what you see in your day-to-day life is called as a current affairs. For example, there was been a Pahalgam attack. So the interviews that are going to be happening in the next couple of weeks and months and all will be covering most of the activities that happened in India, just being talked worldwide. Okay, so there have been many agreements, bills and all being passed, and many agreements has been conducted between and was developed between our country and the other countries and all. And look into the contract which is being signed by the top MNCs. If you're going for the companies and all, if you're going for MBA and other master degrees which relates to the business side, go through the transactions, financial budgets and all, which was made recently. Okay, these are the major things as a whole, and rest on each and every nook and corner will be explained by our team, where our team has the topmost experts in this field, where we have been training, as I mentioned earlier, trained more than 500 plus students for the last 6 to 7 years. And we are also in connection to the and associated with many other top consultants also. So you don't need to worry about the quality of contents. Hmm? Okay. Hope you guys do the best and all the best for your career. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So now, class, I'll be explaining to you as an extension of what sir was just explaining now. I hope I hope both of you are taking down the notes parallelly and writing down all the things which we are going to discuss one by one now. So please do make sure that you are writing down your notes. Along with that, make sure that you are also giving your best, no matter what, on all the things which are going to tell it to you. One by one, we'll be starting it across. Please to jot it down. Please to note it down one by one, all the points we're going to tell it to you. So as sir was telling, your first general kind of, there are 5 layers in which generally your interview basically happens. One is called as common interview based questions. What is it called as? Common interview based questions. Okay. Now, what happens in the common interview based questions? In the common interview based questions, they ask you a question which is something or very common in general. Okay, very simple layer. Here they test your knowledge about the first general trend of a lot in which generally the college like Christ now they ask this question a lot again and again is about tell me something about yourself. It's called a self introduction. Okay, this is the first important thing. Now the second kind of question, why do they ask you self introduction? I'll dissect you one by one. I'll tell you why do they ask that kind of question. An interviewer wants to know who you really are. Okay, who you really are could be found out and could be understood by the power of understanding your true self. That is the power of a self introduction. So what does a self introduction do? A self introduction will clearly tell about one important thing. And what is that one important thing? It will clearly tell who you are, your personality as a whole, your hobbies as a whole, your achievements as a whole, your skill as a whole. Everything we can identify and we can understand with the power of what? With your first important element, that is called as your self introduction, introducing yourself in a best and presentable manner. I hope that is very clear for all of you. Now, when you introduce yourself to the panel, generally they ask you a lot of kind of parallel based questions. What do you mean by many kind of parallel based questions they ask for an interview? They test your overall knowledge in different kind of segments and parameters as a whole. When I say when you check about all the aspects of segments and parameters, they check about when you say that your hobby is about playing football, then they will be asking you, tell me any 3 famous football players which you have basically heard about. Or the second kind of question which they can ask you is about, now if you basically say in your self introduction that you like music, they will tell that, okay, can you sing a song? That is generally they ask. Okay, they generally literally ask about they'll ask you to sing. That is natural and common. Okay. Now the next important layer which they can ask is about, they can ask something more about your passion which you've basically done in your entire 11th and 12th. For example, in your 11th and 12th, you have done very well in your co-curricular activities. You have mentioned that in your self-introduction. If you tell that you're a good debater, then gradually you will be expecting more kind of questions at that particular level. Now, for example, if you've been preparing for your master's level, okay, master's level interview as a whole. Now, what and all you have done in your graduation. For example, in your graduation, if you say that you were part of different kinds of clubs, association, those kind of questions also you will be getting it again and again. I hope that is also clear for you. So the objective of a common interview based question is about what? An objective of a common interview based question. It is purely of what? It is purely to teach you and explain and make you understand the reality of who you are. You're trying to present it in the form of a panel. I hope that is very clear for you. It's like, very simple. Just imagine you're going for a date. Okay. Now what happened? Your girlfriend is there in the other side. Now what happened? You're asking her to, why are you asking her questions like what are you doing? Why you like her? What are the things she like doing? And all. When you will be asking these questions again and again, no? Naturally you'll be asking why do you ask it? It's because you want to know that person completely. Simply you will not go, like, you'll not go into a relationship to a person, right? How will you get into a relationship to a person? You will get into a relationship into a person only by asking her many kind of questions. Even she'll also be asking you many kind of questions. That's why half of the reasons why they break out also at lateral part. But regardless, so when you introduce, the other person will get to know about you very well. That is a major reason. Similar way for a college interview, they ask you more kind of this kind of questions, your self questions. Why? Because the college should feel that you are really worth of basically having you. That is the first important layer. Okay. Now I'll tell you one thing. Most of the time, in generally in an interview, teachers do not have time to go and look into your resume, or they will not look into what all you're basically submitted in your application. I think most of the time teachers will not have time to look into it, because that day of the interview they will be interviewing around like 500 to 600 people. Okay, very interesting. I remember one teacher once telling me, okay, she was like, see, Pavan, I one day I had to take almost 200 plus interview, and Pavan, I don't even remember what each student has basically written in their application. I was like, ma'am, are you seriously telling this? I was like, very jokingly, I asked her. So, ma'am said me that, see, Pavan, how I asked the question is about when a student basically tells something about that person's introduction as a whole, I will be asking subsequent kind of questions on that particular level. For example, when I say that my name is Pavan, I am coming from Bangalore, or my name is Kamal, I am coming from Tamil Nadu. When I basically say that, when that particular introduction is there, what happens? When you give that particular introduction, by default, okay, I'm just repeating once again, by default, what will happen? You are convincing that interview panel, okay? By default, you are telling that you are coming from that particular place, and your questions will be at that particular level. For example, if you say that I'm from Delhi in general. Now they'll ask you about the Delhi. Recently, there's a particular issue, right, which is happening now in the news, and it became very live, right? Couple of airlines, many airlines got cancelled. They were like, no, for example, a flight ticket from Bangalore to Delhi was how much? First of all, we had to pay only like 7,000 or something. Now that same flight is for how much rupees? You have zero clue. That is basically for up to, it's like 50,000, 70,000. There was a influencer and film actor called as Nia. Okay, so she also posted a post regarding it yesterday morning or something. She had to pay 72,000 just for returning back to her house. So because of the new rules, there are a couple of kind of complexities that they can ask you a question on that. Now, for example, we have a couple of students over here. Sarath is from Kerala over here. Now they can, Sarah, they can ask the question about what is your opinion about recent kind of politics issue which is happening in Kerala. Now, there's a recent election is going to happen in Kerala now. They can basically ask such kind of questions even for Sarath. Why? Because when you say that you are coming from a respective state, you need to expect, you need to literally expect that your questions will also be in that particular level. Now, we have Suman. Suman, you're from which state? Can you just unmute?
Sir, Karnataka, sir.
Karnataka. Okay, fine then. In Karnataka, for example, if I'm an interview person who likes to read more about politics, then I will be asking first question to Sumant is about there's a controversy between who is going to be the next chief minister. Is it the DK Shivkumar or Siddaramaiah? There was a controversy which had come into Karnataka news again and again. So I would be asking that particular question. What is your opinion regarding this? Okay. Why? Because every teacher, whoever is basically coming to your interview panel, those teachers are not actually what they're not from that respective kind of see they you see, for example, if someone is from an MSc student, or for example Sarath is basically a BCA student, you cannot expect the teacher only from that department to come and teach you across. I hope that's very clear for you. You cannot expect at any point of time that particular teacher coming and asking you this particular question. That is impossible. Okay, there is going to be a mix of teachers which is going to come and they're going to ask you questions. You should be prepared with all the levels, and that's the reason you need to read newspaper. Why you need to read the newspaper is about, at least for the next few couple of days, please to buy a newspaper. For example, we have our Indian Express newspaper or Hindu paper. Try to buy a particular paper, read the editorial properly. Okay, I want all of you to read the editorial page properly. Why? Because that is the only way it can really help you in terms of what it can really help you in terms of the mere factor answering in an interview very well. Okay, so I want for you for the next 5 days or 6 days, take your time, read newspaper, and make sure that you are making at least few couple of important state news. Okay, please do write it down somewhere, put a star mark and write that you are going to make pointers 10 important state news you're going to create it. Okay, 10 important state news, you're going to keep it ready. Now
So one
after,
second, sir. Like Kerala have to fully study about Kerala, right?
not
Like
full
state
Kerala,
news.
at least 10 important recent news. 10 important recent news in Kerala. Okay, state news.
Okay, okay.
And Sumant is from Karnataka, at least one 10 to 15 important state news you need to learn. 10 news would be enough. 10 important, which is very much important in the limelight. And Sumant, you
Oh,
are from which course?
sir, mathematics, sir. MSc in mathematics. I have applied
MSc in
for.
mathematics you have basically applied for. So
Yes,
was
sir.
there any kind of, so MSc in mathematics, now you tell me, Sumant, MSc in mathematics is applied to which particular area in our country as a whole? Or a news when you basically read it, under which particular headline does it come? Does it come under technology? Does it come under science? Or does it come in a different category? What kind of category can this come under?
Okay, sir. It comes under both, sir. Technology, budget in terms of budget, science. We can use mathematics in various aspects as well.
Perfect. So when you basically say that, you need to also link your particular subject to that particular respective area. For example, when you say that MSc mathematics is connected to the budget, Indian budget as a whole, if you feel that is important, then at least 10 important, see, first 10 important current affairs you need to create in respect of your state. That you need to do. Now, next 10 important points, Sumant, what you're going to do? You're going to create 10 important points, which is something related to your subject. For example, if mine is MSc in mathematics, then I'm going to create 10 news, which is purely on what? Which is purely on MSc in mathematics as a whole. Okay, MSc in mathematics as a whole, you need to create what? A pure kind of 10 important kind of, based on your subjects, one 10 important news you need to keep it ready. Similar way for Sarith. For example, if Sarith is preparing for your BCA, Bachelor in Computer Application, so what Sarath needs to do? Sarath needs to actually make 10 or 15 pointers, which is purely on what? Which is purely on something related to his respective topic. For example, there's something called as quantum technology, which is happening now. Or let me tell it to you. For example, Sarath is more prepared on something of computer science or something like that. Like for example, now there is a recently Gemini, and out of this in AI world, for example, Gemini has contributed a significantly. Gemini has basically contributed something more. So Gemini is basically leading more. Now, if you observe in news, there was something, a recent controversy where which happened, no, where OpenAI, the Chat GPT company, they issued something called as a red code. Red code, which basically says that the company is in basically a huge alert. Why? Because the Gemini has introduced new couple of features which is much better than any other AI platform. So like that similar way, 10 important news which is related to your subject stream, you should be knowing it. That is important.
Like
Needs to be
BCA.
exactly. BC is basically computer application. You just need to know about that. As I gave an example of Gemini, that is basically part of a computer application and AI technology, which has basically been developing. So you need to research, and then you need to research and expand your topics in that. Now, the next important area is about your
And sir,
international.
one thing, sir.
Hmm.
These all news, Kerala news will be there in newspaper,
uh,
but this computer news where I can take it
Yeah,
from
you
that.
can just type a recent in Google search itself would be fine. Or else you can use even your AI. You can, instead of using AI, you can use Perplexity Pro. That's a beautiful AI platform. Okay, just tell that my course is BCom, or for example BCA in computer application. As such, I need to make a particular. You just need to put a detailed this one, a prompt in your Perplexity Pro, and ask it to give you 10 Perplexity Pro. It's called as PER. Wait, I'll just type it down. It's PERPLEXITY, perplexity, perplexity dot AI, perplexity AI. If you just go and if you just type your respective subject course, and then if you just basically type, what will happen, you will be getting all kind of recent news of that particular topic of your respective
Okay,
subject.
okay.
That is possible.
For
Okay.
same for Kerala also can I type there?
Kerala, you can do that, nothing wrong in that, but I would suggest you, if you're able to go with newspaper, it is always good. Instead of taking a shortcut, always that's not good, no? Taking always
Yes,
shortcut
correct.
and then preparing, because preparing for one of the exams, it's good. Yeah, you can use AI, nothing wrong in that. But why? Always depending on one particular AI platform. Okay. Now, coming to the next important thing, which I would ask all of you to do, is basically the first important aspect. That is about what. First, we covered state news. Then you're going to cover up something about your subject based topics, and then you're going to basically prepare. And the next last important area, that is purely going to be about what? It's going to be about international news. You need to learn about the international news a lot. At least 10 important international news. For example, recently Putin, Russia's president, basically came to India. We're having a couple of bilateral meeting agreements to everything. So on that particular area is what I need to do. I need to actually create something which is on that particular line, and then I need to do something and prepare accordingly on that particular levels. For example, that is one of the international news that you can basically take a note of. Now, for example, United States, they've imposed couple of tax regime. There's huge amount of inflation in the country now. Why? Because there's a tax problem which has basically been happening. And what are the India's bilateral agreements? So just any international news, one 10 to 15 international news, also you just keep it ready in your hand. Why? I'll tell you the mere reason. See, as the days goes on, each day of the class, I'll be covering up different kind of concepts. Okay, when I'm giving you, please don't take it like a mere story. I'm not telling Chacha Mama Rama Mahabharata story. No, I'm literally telling how your interview really works, what kind of question they ask. See, this might be looking a proper theory class, but if your theory is not strong, your mock interview, you forget about the interview itself, you will not be able to do anything properly for your real this one. So I would advise all of you to basically prepare accordingly in a proper strategy manner. I hope that is very clear for you. And I always advise my student to watch actually Palki Sharma's news. Her news is really good. You'll get a lot of insights to everything, and because all the latest news, all the latest aspect, everything you can get it from this particular place, Palki Sharma's news. So I would
Sir,
suggest you
can you
to,
just type in chat box that
yeah,
news Palki
sure, sure.
Sharma?
It's called as Palki, 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 Sharma, Palki Sharma's news. That is also a good option. I want all of you to just go through this particular news channel, Palki Sharma's news. She cover up everyday news analysis to everything. So I would suggest you please to explore her platform. That is the best option. Okay, always start watching her
So daily
news.
you have to like
Hmm.
see from her, right?
Yes, exactly. You need to watch daily, and yeah, daily news of her is actually one of the best ever things which you need to, which you exactly need to keep in mind. Now, coming to the next important aspect would be about, it is important and very crucial that you just need to also have a proper clarity about. First, I said you in your common interview based question, I said that common self introduction can be asked. Then they can ask you something about which is more deep about your hobbies, extracurricular, co-curricular activities to everything. And then we were discussing something which is purely on what? We were discussing something which is purely on your mere fact of state news, national news, and even for the fact, even international news, and your subject related news. So you need to have a proper kind of clarity regarding it. And I hope all of you have basically joined the Telegram group. Even in our Telegram group, regularly we will be posting and giving you a lot of updates on a very regular basis on all the important things which all is happening now. So make sure that I'll just put the link also over here below. You can join the Telegram group without fail, and that is really going to help you out. This is the major important thing.